Hello and welcome. I hope you are all doing well. I wanted to record this because recently I have had a lot of questions around calorie counting. I've had a few new clients come on board and this has been a hot topic of conversation. So I wanted to give you the advice that I wish I had when I first started counting calories. It is an absolute minefield, and there are some certain things that I really wish I knew, that if I'd have known this before I started trying to count calories, then I would probably not have struggled so much. I wouldn't have found it as difficult, and I would have got results a lot quicker because I would have just not wasted time getting all this stuff wrong. So what I'm going to basically go through is how basically not to F up your tracking. And this is going to be an episode where I want to send this to everyone everyone should listen to this before they start to count calories, is basically what I'm trying to say. And as much as we can argue back and forth around whether it's the right method for someone or not, it might not be for everyone, but is it probably one of the best ways to get weight loss, fat loss results in the quickest time and in a really super sustainable way? Yeah, it probably is, in my opinion. So the first thing I'm going to go into is, when you are tracking calories, when you are scanning things in, when you are entering foods into MyFitnessPal or NutriCheck or whatever it is that you use, double checking the data that you are putting in. So, for example, if you are scanning something and MyFitnessPal and NutriCheck are like Wikipedia of the dieting world. Anyone can upload anything into there, and it doesn't always necessarily mean that it's right and it's accurate. Now, tracking calories is not accurate anyway, but what we want to do is we want to be consistent with it, and we want to have it as accurate as we can in our way. So if you're not double checking the data, you could select an option, you could scan a barcode, and it could come up as a completely different food, which has absolutely happened before, or it will pre-populate the serving size, the amount of grams that you're having, and all sorts of stuff. So that's if you're scanning it in. If you're putting it in by searching, then you are going to get generated a big list of different things, and if you just pick the one at the top of the list, then without double checking the data that's on there, so like the grams per serving, the amount of servings that you're having, whether it's like a tablespoon or a teaspoon, whether it's grams or milliliters, or whether it's got like the protein information in there, because sometimes that information's not put in. Like, if you're not double checking that data, you could potentially be mistracking like 200, 300, 400 calories, probably more sometimes. And that's why it's important to be super savvy when you are doing this stuff, and make sure you are just double checking everything that you're putting in. So when you are entering data into MyFitnessPal, making sure that if you are having 200 grams of chicken breast, that is what you are putting into MyFitnessPal. If you are having and it's always best, in my opinion, to measure with like metrics like milliliters, grams, and things like that, rather than teaspoons, tablespoons, cups, slices, and all of that, because that tends to just be a bit more generic, whereas the grams, milliliters, all of that is a lot more specific. Is that the right word? I couldn't think of the word then. And it's such a simple word, specific. It's a lot more specific. It's a lot less generic, and it's going to be a lot more accurate. And yeah, MyFitnessPal can literally generate and chuck up like anything, and that's why it's super important to be as accurate as you can. And yes, that may mean in the beginning that you have to manually put everything in, but eventually it's very smart and it remembers the things that you're having. It remembers the foods that you have regularly, and you'll eventually get your own library of things. So a meal that might take you, I don't know, a minute to 2 minutes to log would literally take you 10 seconds. It is so good. It is so fast. So definitely like double checking the data when you go to input food in. Generally is better to scan the barcode if you can, but again, even don't rely on that. Like scan the barcode and put it and check what you're putting in, and check that it measures up to what you're actually eating and what you're actually serving up. So the second thing I would make sure that I would do is measure and track your liquid calories. Now, again, this is something that you're probably not going to have to do every single time, but especially in the beginning, like you could be mistracking hundreds of calories just by not tracking your liquid calories. So I had a client who came to me and she was like, Nicole, I'm not losing any weight. I'm really worried. Like I feel like I'm doing all the right things, but the scales are not coming down. I just don't seem to be getting it, and it just doesn't seem to be working. And I sort of said to her, I was like, okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to send me a picture of everything you eat and drink over the next few days and track it all in MyFitnessPal. Send me the screenshots and we can compare the differences. And she wasn't tracking her liquid calories. She wasn't tracking her drinks. Now, obviously, water does not make a difference. But if you are going and having like a vanilla latte every day, if you're having a flat white every day, if you're having like even orange juice, like which we would think is like super healthy, really good for you, like it can still be a couple of 100 calories, and if it's not being counted, then that could easily take you out of your deficit for the day. So just being really savvy with those liquid calories and make sure that they're getting logged. And if you are finding versions that are like higher calories, swapping it out for something lower calorie. So going for like your skinny, like I don't like to use the term skinny, that's the wrong word, but like when you order it, that's what they call it. Like using skimmed milk instead of full fat milk, using like 0 sugar drinks instead of full sugar, all of those different things that you can do. Watching out for your juices is especially a big one, because they can be categorized as healthy, but actually like they can be super high in calories, which if that's taking you out of your deficit, then that's really annoying, because that's one of them situations where you think you're doing the right thing and actually it's sabotaging your progress. Another thing with liquid calories is like your oils. So making sure like olive oil, making sure that's in there. Even if it's just an estimate, like being like tens to hundreds of calories out is better than being like thousands of calories out. I know that's really exaggerating, but yeah, like really making sure that your liquid calories are going in there too. Then the other thing, so I literally had this conversation with a client this week, was around cooked versus raw foods. And this counts with like meats and like things like pastas and stuff like that as well. But I would always make sure that you are, personally, in my opinion, you would be best just like tracking the raw data, like the raw weight. So like with your pasta, for example, pasta's a really big one. So if you cook pasta, obviously it expands, it absorbs water, it expands. So that means it will get heavier. So if you measured like 100 grams of cooked pasta, that would be a much smaller portion than 100 grams of dried pasta, because that 100 grams has got to absorb water. So that would then be a huge, huge portion of pasta. So making sure that when you are logging the right, if it's cooked or raw, basically. So like if you were to have chicken in a chicken salad and you weren't to cook it yourself, you were to get it from like Aldi in one of those packs and it was already cooked, making sure that that's been logged as a cooked chicken breast, not as a raw chicken breast. And just making sure that you are logging it accurately, so that what you're having is what you're saying you're having, if that makes sense. So yeah, making sure that you are, especially with pasta, like with pasta it's so important, like pasta and rice, it's so important that you just double check that. And I would always, like, for ease and to be on the safe side, weigh your pasta out and then log it and then cook it. Because then when you've cooked it, you can just eat it. Like, who is cooking food and then measuring it and then eating it? Like, no girl, I want my food. Like, I want to eat. If I've cooked something, I want to eat it. I don't want to be pissing around measuring it. So measure it, weigh it, do the raw weight and log that. And log the ingredients separately. So whole ingredients, log the ingredients separately, rather than searching for, like, I don't know, try to think, a chicken salad. Like, would I ever eat a chicken salad? I don't know. Maybe. But rather than searching on MyFitnessPal for chicken salad, actually logging the amount of chicken, logging, like, the lettuce, the tomatoes, if you've had any dressings, like, anything like that, the rice, the pasta, whatever, doing them as individual ingredients, that will be so much more accurate than just searching a generic chicken salad. Because my chicken salad, compared to your chicken salad, compared to my mum's chicken salad, would be 3 totally different meals. So yeah, another mistake that I see a lot of people make, and one that I made myself in the past, was trying to remember what I'd eaten and then tracking it. My advice would always be to track on the go, or the best way I've found that works, because you can just do it and forget about it, is to track in advance. So when you do it like that, you're much more likely to remember the serving sizes, what you had, how much of it you actually ate, because not necessarily what you make yourself, you don't always eat it all. So you're much more likely to remember that than being sat on your sofa at 8 o'clock at night thinking, flipping it, what did I have for breakfast? Like, and trying to guess. Like, trying to guess is just the worst thing you can do when it comes to MyFitnessPal. So definitely track on the go or track in advance. The best thing about tracking in advance is you're already planning your meals anyway. So why not just put them in, and then worst case scenario, you have to change it. But I can imagine, actually, I know for a fact, like, if you've already logged everything in MyFitnessPal and you're sort of pottering around the house, I don't know, you've got 10 minutes till you have to go pick the kids up from school, and you're tidying around and you open the snack cupboard and you're like, oh, I could just eat that. And then you're like, actually, remember, my phone's somewhere in the house, don't know where if you're anything like me. And that means I have to go and log it, and then I'm just like, do you know what? I just can't be bothered. Like, just leave it. It'll be fine. I'll wait. That's very much what I can be like anyway. But definitely tracking on the go or tracking in advance is 100% the best way to go. Like I say, you're planning your meals anyway, and even if it's just like your breakfasts and your lunches that you track, and you don't do your evening meals because you don't actually fully know what you're going to be having, like, generally people tend to have the same meals most days, and I'll come on to that in a minute. But if you sat on your sofa watching Netflix on a night, like, just chilling, like, just log your food for the next day, and then you know what you've got to play around with, if anything, and you know that it's done. It's one less admin task you have to do tomorrow, it's one less decision you have to make tomorrow, and it just makes your life so much easier. So the other thing that I wanted to mention was literally having a routine. So having a routine when it comes to your meals and eating similar meals. Now, people come and they're like, oh, I just want to change it up. I don't want to eat the same things every day, this, that, and the other. And, like, that's fine. Like, I get that. But generally, people do eat the same things daily. Like, we have routines around food, and we generally do eat this very similar meals. So actually just creating that routine is not the end of the world. Like, some people just can't be asked to do it, and, like, that's just is what it is. Like, having a routine and a structure when it comes to meals is super important, because it makes it predictable, and again, it takes a decision away from you. So if you know that generally for my breakfast all week, I'm going to have porridge, and it just is like one decision I don't have to make for the rest of the week. If you know that actually, like, or even, and I'm not saying you have to eat the same meal every single day. I'm saying like, have like 1 or 2 different options. So have 2 different breakfasts that you can choose from. Plan when you're going to have them, get them in MyFitnessPal, get it done. Like, and if you have to change it, you have to change it. But at the end of the day, as long as you've got to the end of the week and 4 days, the 4 days that you've said you're going to eat porridge, you eat porridge. The 3 days that you say you're going to eat, I don't know, a sausage, egg and bacon bagel, like, as long as you do that, as long as you actually follow through with it, and don't go and get a latte and a croissant. What was I going to say then? Then, like, instead and not log it, then it's absolutely fine. Like, it's not that hard. It's really not that difficult. And I think people really overthink it a lot. And sorry, that might sound a bit brutal to say, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, so eating similar meals, and just having a routine with food. Your body loves routine. Your digestive system loves routine. So you will thank me later for that. And it just helps. Like I say, it takes the decision away. The last thing about like something I wish I'd learned before I started tracking calories was how to deal with meals out. Now this can be a really tricky one, but again, this is one of those things like, you'll hear people say like, oh, I went out but I couldn't track this meal, and like I couldn't find it, or like, and really it's just that you can't be bothered, or you can't be bothered to figure it out. You can't be bothered to think about it and actually like figure it out. Whereas actually, like, there's so many different things you can do when it comes to logging meals out. Again, like going back to what I said earlier, you could literally go down the single ingredient route, and if you're having like a tomato or chicken pasta dish or whatever, I would never order that in a restaurant. Why did I say that? Anyway, like you could like estimate the portion of pasta. You could put in like tomato passata. They've probably used oil, so just log a tablespoon of olive oil, which is like 120, 130 calories. You could log like a bit of veg if they've put veg in there. Like you could log chicken, estimate how much chicken there is. You're much better off being a few 100, 200, 300 calories out from that meal than being thousands of calories out from meals out. Like, it's much better to just take an educated guess and try your best anyway than to just be like, oh, I couldn't do it, I can't be arsed. And let's be honest, own it. Like, if you've ever said, I couldn't track it, really, if you wanted to try to, you probably could. You're just not making the effort. And it's these details, like, these are the details between people who get fucking insane results and people who don't, and people where it takes absolutely forever. Is the people who get the best results are actually willing to be bothered to learn and to put the effort in to find things out that they don't currently know, rather than just having the closed mindset of, I can't do it, it's not for me. Like, it's just a very negative mindset. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. I'm not going to go on a rant about that. So yeah, so even if you go out for pizza, a lot of things are actually on MyFitnessPal now. And if you go out to your favourite Italian restaurant and order a pizza, just log it as a similar one on Domino's, like, or Papa John's, or whatever your favourite pizza outlet is. For me, it's Papa John's. I'm sure there are many other out there, but I'm a Papa John's girl. So, and like, if it's like you go out for a burger, just log it as like a Big Mac from McDonald's. Like, yeah, it's not going to be accurate, but it's going to be a lot more accurate than not logging anything at all and just burying your head in the sand and pretending it didn't happen, which is also what happens. So yeah, they're the things. I hope you have taken one thing at least from this episode, but they are the things and there's probably more. They are all the main things I wish I knew when I first started out and I first started tracking calories. And I think if you start tracking calories and you take on board all of those things, and you measure you measure your metrics in the right way, like measuring your scale weight and your measurements, and you put progress photos, then you will see results because you will be doing it properly. Obviously, it comes down to then making sure you have the right targets set, which is what I'm here to do. And if you would like help with that, you can download my free 4-week Iconic Glow Up, which will get you set up for the best possible fat loss journey. All you have to do is message me the word glow up and I will send it to you. You can email me or message me on Instagram. And if you are interested in coaching with me one-to-one, then just drop me an email, send me a message on Instagram, the word coaching or calories, or just say hi. Don't be weird, just say hello. And I will speak to you next time.